What a disaster. Last night was an unmitigated disaster for Cam Harris. I have been telling you guys for months now, this campaign of Cam Harris, it is nothing but an illusion. And last night, that illusion was exposed. I almost felt bad for Tim Walz last night. Keyword, almost. I know this sounds harsh, but I just have trouble feeling bad for dudes that might be sitting down. Have a hard time feeling bad for a dude who replaced the free condoms in the men's restroom with free tampons. But I almost felt bad for Timmy Walz last night. He was given the toughest job in America. Timmy Walz. He was given the impossible task of not only making Cam Harris seem competent, Timmy was also responsible for putting endless amounts of polish on this turd in a failed attempt to conceal the truth. Basically, Tim Walz was given the task of covering up the endless lies of cackling Cam Harris, and he was exposed. If you have been watching this channel for the past week or so, you know exactly what I'm going to say here next. The truth always comes to the light. There is not enough polish to cover this rancid turd. No amount of assistance from CBS, and believe me, those doofus moderators from CBS, they tried their damnedest to make Timmy Walz and Cam Harris seem electable last night. When are they going to learn? When is the woke media going to learn? Did they learn nothing from that debate on ABC? David Moo and whoever the hell the diversity moderator was for that debate, they were destroyed for their atrocious performance. To make matters worse, it also had a negative impact on Cam Harris. Now, with that being the case, you would think CBS would moderate this debate fairly. This debate was disastrous from the start, but CBS did get very lucky. There were two reasons that CBS got lucky, and we'll get to the other one here later in the video. But the main reason that CBS got lucky is because JD Vance, he saved that debate last night. I know a lot of people, myself included, questioned the Trumpers' decision when he selected JD Vance as his vice president. But after last night, all of those doubts vanished. JD Vance, and I don't curse much anymore, but after that performance last night, JD Vance is a motherfucking star. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Let's go ahead and knock out the sponsor for today's video. There could not be a more appropriate sponsor for this video than my good friends at Trump Trends. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's kind of a big election coming up next month. Over the summer, I'm sure you have noticed thousands and thousands of Trump supporters wearing clothes showing their support of Donald Trump, while people who support Cam Harris, they are hiding because showing your support for Cam Harris, it could lead your business to crashing. If you don't believe me, just go ask Netflix. If you are going to show your support for the Trumper, you might as well do it in style by purchasing all of your Trump gear from Trump Trends. Trump Trends is your one-stop shop for everything Donald Trump. They've got your typical MAGA hats, and they have the badass shoes that you're seeing behind me. Every pair of these shoes behind me, it's handcrafted, and they act as a repellent, guaranteed to keep all the woke wanker spankers away from you. As you guys know, I prefer wearing hoodies. Here is one of my new favorites right here, with one of the truest statements ever said. Everything woke turns to shit. Trump Trends has shoes, boots, hats, t-shirts, hoodies. They got everything you need to show your support for the Trumper and look damn good while doing it. And the best part is, when you purchase something from Trump Trends, a portion of your purchase, it is donated to the presidential campaign of Donald Trump. Join over 30,000 satisfied customers by clicking the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL10, BTL10. Save 10% off your first purchase with Trump Trends. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way. I don't think Tim Walz was necessarily bad last night. The reason I say that, the bar was set so low for Timmy Walz. I mean, we are comparing his performance to a professional cackler and our former fearless leader, Johnny B. Biden, who can't control his devastating bouts of diarrhea. All Tim Walz had to do last night was show up, and he was already better than cackling Cam and Johnny B. Biden. I thought the debate last night was phenomenal. Well, Casey, I thought you just said it was a disaster. Yeah, it was a disaster for CBS. It was a disaster for Cam Harris. But from a behavior standpoint, from a decorum standpoint, I thought JD Vance and in some cases, Tim Walz too. I thought they gave the American people exactly what we wanted to see. There was no name calling. There were no doofus arguments. JD Vance and Tim Walz, they did exactly, I mean exactly, what I have been asking Donald Trump to do for months now. Focus on the issues. How long have I been saying all Donald Trump has to do to win this election is nothing? Focus on policy, let Commander Cam and Timmy Tampax do all the talking, and they will bury themselves. That is exactly what happened last night. I thought he came across more personable than Cam Harris. There were times where I felt Timmy was more authentic than Commander Cam. I think he actually believed some of what he was saying. Matter of fact, him and JD Vance didn't seem too far off on some of the issues, mainly the economy. Hell, Tim Walz, he spent half the night agreeing with everything that JD Vance was saying. If Cam Harris didn't make an insomnia-influenced phone call and accidentally asked Tim Walz to be her vice president, I think he would be voting for JD Vance. CBS, I mean, they were absolutely atrocious. Who in the hell were those women moderating this debate? What the hell happened to diversity? What the hell happened to inclusion? Poor JD Vance, he was verbally sparring against 3 feminine personalities last night. Well, Casey, there were only 2 women moderating that debate. Yeah, well, Timmy likes tampons, so that automatically gives him feminine traits. The second question of the debate, with a potential war that could happen any minute between Iran and Israel, with everything happening in Europe, the southern border, with millions and millions of people fleeing the People's Republic of California, hoping for a better life in Stiff Rock, Montana. With all these important issues happening right now, you know what the second question of the debate was? You know what the doofus moderators at CBS believe is the second most important issue happening right now? Climate change. They asked JD Vance how he was going to control the weather. Really? Last I checked, only God controls the weather, not man. Believe it or not, the orange man, he can't even control the weather. Several minutes later, CBS, they interrupt JD Vance during the middle of his answer because we wanted to make sure he had all his facts right. When JD Vance responded, disputing their bullshit facts, CBS, they muted his microphone. I lost count of how many times CBS interrupted JD Vance to provide some doofus fact check that no one cared about. But I will give CBS credit for one thing. I only remember them fact checking Tim Walz once, but it was the most important one of the night. It was the seminal moment of the debate, and it was the moment that proved that we were right with everything that we have been saying here on the channel for the past few months. This entire campaign of Cam Harris, it is nothing but an illusion. The doofus moderators, They asked Tim Walz about Tiananmen Square in the late 1980s. Now, Timmy, he's been running around the country claiming that he was in Tiananmen Square serving in the military while they were over there fighting for their freedom. The protest and the fight for freedom, I believe that happened in the spring of 1989 up until around the beginning of June. There's just one problem with Timmy's story, one small problem. You see, the military keeps records. Timmy didn't arrive in China until August of that year, 2 or 3 months after the protests were over. Initially, when CBS asked the question, Tim Walz, he decided to impersonate Cam Harris. He went into this long, drawn-out response where he was talking about a bunch of shit that no one cared about. I used to coach football. I was a teacher, you know. Did you know I'm from Minnesota? I like farms. My wife always asks me to pick the supersized cucumber when I visit the farm. Oh, did I just say that out loud? Next question, please. After several minutes of Tim Walz completely avoiding the question, something surprising happened. If this debate was on ABC, they would have accepted this non-answer from Tim Walz and they would have moved on by asking JD Vance why he organized January 6th. But the moderators from CBS, and one of their only fair, balanced, bright spots of the night, they did not let Tim Walz get away with his non-answer. They were not letting Timmy slide with his painfully boring soliloquy about Pee-wee football. CBS asked him again why he lied about his military service. And Tim Walz, he wasn't prepared to respond. Watch for yourself.
You said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. But Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August of that year. Can you explain that discrepancy?
Yeah, well, and to the folks out there who didn't get at the top of this, look, I grew up in small rural Nebraska, town of 400, town that you rode your bike with your buddies till the streetlights come on, and I'm proud of that service. I joined the National Guard at 17, worked on family farms, and then I used the GI Bill to become a teacher.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
Just, all I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
The cover-up is always worse than the initial lie. All Tim Walz had to do here was say, you know what? I got caught up in the moment. I shouldn't have said I was there when I really wasn't. That is 100% my fault. That's on me. All I can do going forward is be honest and transparent with you and gain back your trust. That's it. That's all he had to say. Would conservative media magnify his response and claim that Tim Walz admitted to lying? Yes. But they were going to do that anyway. The reaction would have been a lot less severe if Tim Walz just told the truth. Some people might have even respected him for it. Instead, he tries to cover his initial lie with another lie, and it ended up being the most humiliating moment of the debate. After last night, there's absolutely no reason for Donald Trump to participate in a second debate. Matter of fact, keep Trump off the campaign trail altogether. Go play golf, let JD Vance do all the talking. Rarely am I impressed with a politician. I was impressed with JD Vance last night. That performance was flawless. Like I said earlier, JD Vance did exactly what I have been asking Donald Trump to do for months. Trump should stop being grump, quit being negative, and focus specifically on the issues. Leave the negativity and name-calling to dumbasses like me. Your job is to win the election. My job is to deliver information in an entertaining way. Let people like me do the name-calling. Let people like me be the asshole. You go win the damn election. That is what JD Vance did last night. He didn't get flustered with the biased moderators. He didn't let the doofus moderators from CBS annoy him. JD Vance stayed poised. And I'll be honest with you, I think JD Vance won the election last night. This dude was so impressive. Tim Walz was fawning all over him. At one point, I thought they were going to have to build a damn wall on stage to prevent Tim Walz from running over to JD Vance and giving him a passionate woke hug. Oh man, I love you. Can we be besties? I have Taylor Swiffer on speed dial. We can have a slumber party, and I promise I won't invite Cam. Give me your thoughts on this. JD Vance absolutely beast that debate last night. A star was born. That was one of the most impressive debate performances that I've seen in years. Was the election won last night? Is it over for Cam Harris? Like I said, I don't think Tim Walz was necessarily bad, but he was just completely outmatched. The bar was set so low for Tim Walz, he had nowhere to go but up. This is disastrous for Cam Harris, though, which is why you're seeing the media in a full-blown panic last night and this morning. I think it's over. I think JD Vance sealed the deal last night. What about you? Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys later.